Good morning, guys. Hope everybody's having a good week. Here it is Thursday, getting towards the end of the week, and it's gorgeous out here this morning. Good morning, Tom. Nice clouds out in the sky. It's supposed to be about 90 today, low 90s, so it seems like the temperatures, even though the heat indexes are high, it seems like it's not quite as hot as it was a few weeks ago, so that's kind of nice. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Good morning, Vera. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Claudine. Good morning, Barbara. Sandy did a sunset video last night, so if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you go back and check that out. Good morning, Lori. Yes, you did hear me cough. Two things about that. It is not red tide. I have had a little bit of a cough recently. I had a really bad cold last week, and I'm still fighting through the after effects of that. And then this weird little thing, and I'm curious actually if you guys, since somebody brought it up, whenever I drink coffee, like a strong coffee, which I like really strong coffee, whenever I drink a really strong coffee, I cough a lot afterwards. So I don't know if that's just me or if that's something that's normal with you guys, but it's a weird thing. Good morning, Janet. I'm weird though, I guess. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Michelle. Dee. Risha. Good morning. The beach is beautiful. There's no signs of red tide here. We're very careful in the way we say it. Good morning, Jeff. We're very careful in the way we say it. Good morning, Sabille from Germany. Because we're not saying there's no red tide in the water. We're saying there's no red tide conditions as far as we can see from the air, from the water. Don't drink very hot coffee. It irritates your throat. All right, thanks, James. Maybe I'll try and let it cool off a bit. Good morning, Jamie. Check out these clouds this morning. Good morning, Anita. Yeah, the clouds are pretty cool today. Some days we come out here and we don't have a lot of clouds, and some days we get these really cool bubbly clouds like today. And they're calling for storms early today, so I think it's going to be a pretty busy day storm-wise. So for me, that's perfect because I love the storms. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Jason. Michelle says, love the positive outlook on your channel with regards to Naples and red tide. Thank you so much for that comment, Michelle. That actually means a lot more than you guys might think, because we feel like we're fighting against the current here sometimes, and it's really frustrating when you completely tell the truth as far as you can tell. You know, like I said to somebody else who basically cursed us out online here a few days ago, 2 days ago, we're not experts. We don't come out here and draw water samples, and we know what you guys know, and we try to share. We do a lot more digging than a lot of you guys do, so we try to share that information on the page when we find it. But we call it as we see it. I like to say, and Sandy thinks it's a fun term I use instead of boots on the ground, we're toes in the sand. And that's very true, because we've taken a beating with some people who watch other people and other news outlets constantly talk about how terrible it is. And it's just not. I'm not saying there's no red tide here. I'm not saying there's no red tide up north. I'm just saying, as far as common sense of walking out here on the beach and letting you see it with your own eyes, I mean, it's kind of obvious. I mean, I'll take you down here since it's early enough where the sun's not pounding yet. And I can't, the only reason I don't do it later is because when these shadows disappear, we're stuck in the sun and the phones overheat. But, we take you guys down here to the water and you can see it for yourself. Now, if you go up to North Naples, it may be a little different. But here you are. And the water's pretty clear. Hi, Carol. Thanks for watching, Carol. The water's pretty clear. It does not smell. The water does not smell at all. And really all you see is some seaweed. I don't see, there is one fish. There is one fish. Right there's a puffer fish. So let's talk about that. So there's one fish. And if I walk down, I'll bet you within another 100 feet, I would find one fish. Some people are painting this as Naples Beach has fish everywhere. The conditions are terrible, when it's just not true. And I don't want to say people are lying, but it's not true. And you will find fish out here. I would say give it every 100 feet, you'll find a fish. Like right there, there's a fish. But that fish right there is like a week old, guys. So that's an old, that thing's ugly, that's nasty. But remember this, there's two things. And I'm gonna read your comments here in just a minute, guys. It's hard because I'm kind of blocking the sun away from the phone so it doesn't overheat. Remember this, there's red tide in the water, and then there's red tide in the air. And they are two completely different things. And I would say don't come out here and swim. Well, I won't even say that. I would say I wouldn't come out here and swim right now, because we know to some extent there's red tide in the water. These fish coming up on shore were out in the water, which is obvious. And we know, and we've never said there's not red tide in the water. We've never said that. So if you see a dead fish, you have to figure, well, there's red tide in the water, and that fish probably succumbed to the red tide in the water. When you're on the beach, if you were just wanting to come out to the beach, I would not avoid coming to the beach. It's gorgeous out here. It's beautiful. There's no red tide in the air. There's no stinky smell. And some of these fish have been dead for a while, to be honest with you. Now, when we were last Friday up in North Naples at Delmar Wiggins, there were fish lining the beach. So we know for a fact conditions up there are different than they are here. We know it. We've said it. We've not lied about it. So there's your morning update. And I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions. There's a crab right over there. You can't see it, I'm sure, on camera. But if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And I'm going to come up here and read some of your comments here in the shade. When it cools down, guys, when it gets more into the cooler months, we'll stay down on the beach. We can't right now because the phones overheat. D says, I appreciate your opinions on red tide. Some people are not happy unless they're complaining. It's that. And then here's the thing, guys. And I don't speak in relation to parties of politics. I just speak in terms of politics. There's so much political clout behind this. Not that there's not red tide, but there's just people saying red tide is worse than it is in other areas. I would say what everybody's reported in North Naples is probably accurate. What they've reported in Bonita is probably accurate. Lee County, all that. But we're here almost every day, down here in downtown, in the pier area. And I can tell you that very little of what I heard is what I would deem truthful about our area. And we've tried everything we can do to kind of set that record straight. And hopefully we're making some waves. The only thing I don't understand are people who really watch those other people and then believe that they're being truthful and we're lying. And then they write us and they basically, I think they go through some kind of cursing dictionary and find creative words to use, because some of it, man, it's like they had to put thought into it. And they call us everything they can. And the thing I don't understand is, guys, we're not sitting here just writing this. We're showing them. So I don't understand how people can see something with their own eyes and say it's not true. Well, I take that back. it's 2018 and I see a lot of people, so I guess I can believe that people can see something and just not believe it. So anyway, all right, I see your comments, guys, so I'm gonna go back here real quick and start reading through them so I don't miss them. Let's see. Mike says, good morning, Brandon. I also appreciate your opinion on the conditions there. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Jason says, looks like typical Naples water to me. It does to me too, Jason. Fred up in Detroit. Oh, leaving the Naples area for a few days, I see. Very cool, Fred. Hydroplane races. I bet that's actually really cool. Good morning, David. Good morning, Sandy. Michelle says, I'm sure there will be remnants of red tide for a long time. Doesn't mean it's full on red tide. That's absolutely true. I fully expect that we're going to hear on some level red tide probably through tourist season, honestly, through the winter. How many people, Jason says, how many people have been going in the water the last few days? Here's what I'll say. This past week in particular, the beaches have looked, in terms of people swimming, the beaches have actually looked like any normal time. There are people swimming in the water all over the beach if you come out here during the middle of the day. You would never know, and this is what Sandy and I keep saying. If you came out here during the middle of the day and saw the people on the beach, you would never know the difference. You would never know that there's anything that's happened. Thank you. Diane says, I was there 10 days earlier and noticed no evidence of red tide on the beach. I noticed nothing. That's what we keep saying. And Carol says, too bad that government policies are unable or unwilling to address this more effectively. Yeah, listen, we all hate red tide, and that's the thing that that's the thing that I think gets lost is when we speak about what's going on down here in Naples as a positive thing, people think we don't care about the red tide. Guys, it kills everybody. Like, nobody is sitting back thinking this is not horrible. It's horrible, horrible. We all think it. We all completely agree. I really think that the sad part about this, all of this infighting about this topic, is that realistically everybody agrees. Everybody wants the same thing. It's just that some of us, want the truth, and some of us also believe that we should put party aside for this issue. And I tend to see that people only care politically when it's the opposing party in control, whether it be a governor or a president or senators or whatever. Hold on one second, guys. Let's see. Hold on one second, guys. I'm just setting something up here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I had to set up a time lapse there. I'm going to try to shoot a time lapse here. Maybe I'll get it done and put it up later for you guys. The way these clouds look, I wanted to get a good time lapse of the pier with the clouds and all these clouds, because while they look nice now, it's amazing when you get clouds like this and you time lapse them and you can see them bubbling up and doing all this stuff. So hopefully I'll get that on the page later. So let me just read through the rest of these comments and then I'll talk to you guys about some things. Michelle says the feed is really choppy. Well, I hope it's not too bad. There's nothing I can do at this point. We're always subject to the signal. Debbie says from Cape Cod that she didn't think it was that bad. Carol says people love to exaggerate. Sarasota pics look terrible, Lori says. Sarasota pics do look terrible, Lori. And I would say Sarasota is a mess. Lenny asked, do we have red tide every year? Typically, yes. Typically, we do have red tide every year. This is just the worst that we've seen. Rosemary says we also have red tide in Cape Cod. Yeah, see, I think people don't realize that red tide is also a naturally occurring thing. I'm not saying that this one is, because I know that this, and we all pretty much agree, this is a lot related to Lake Okeechobee releases. But excuse me, guys. But it's also natural, so it can be natural, is what I'm saying. Not saying this one is, because I don't really think it is. How is Fort Myers Beach? Go there and go live. Well, I don't really have time very often to go to Fort Myers Beach, but now that you say that, I'm going to talk about something here in a few minutes that will kind of relate to Fort Myers Beach, and it may get us up there at least once. So hang in there for a moment here. Michael says, sorry you're being treated that way. Listen, guys, it really doesn't bother me. They can call me anything. I don't really care. I got thick skin with that stuff. The only thing I like to do is when they post it on the page, I like to make sure that I set the record straight in response to it, because I don't want people seeing that person's response and think that everything we do is a hoax. So anybody who's followed us for any length of time, and those of you who are new and follow us for some time, I think you'll start to figure out kind of who we are, what kind of people we are. And we pride ourselves on being genuine. Like we don't, Sandy and I, we don't actually even, when we do these lives, we don't script anything. I don't even know if Sandy's coming. Like, that's how much we play it by ear. She could show up here, but I have no idea if she's coming. So we don't pre-plan what we're talking about. We don't pre-plan anything. She may come today. She may not. I don't know. And I hope she does. But if she doesn't, that's the way it is. So we do everything off the cuff. Let's see. Here we go. Everything is great on the West Coast. It's figment of your imagination, such BS. So see, here's a perfect example. Ted Scardina. So Ted, I'm not gonna roast you, man. Here's what I'm gonna say. Ted. So Ted says, here we go. Everything is great on the West Coast. It's a figment of your imagination. Such BS. Then go jump in that water, dude. It's not all red tide. Okay, Ted. So Ted, I said I wasn't gonna roast you, and I'm not, but I'm gonna say this, and it needs to be said. You clearly aren't paying attention to what we're saying. The situation, first of all, I'm not speaking in regard to the west coast of Florida. I'm speaking in reference to Naples, specifically Naples. And why would I go jump in that water when I just walked down there less than 10 minutes ago and told you I wouldn't jump in that water? Why would I not jump in that water? Because I told everybody watching this that there's red tide in the water. So Ted, all I would ask is that you and those like you who are sending these comments saying it's a hoax and that it's BS and that it's a figment of my imagination, what I'm showing you. What doesn't make sense, Ted, what doesn't make sense, Ted, is you can see it yourself, man. You can go down there and look yourself. I just did it. So anyway, moving on. Ted also says, you're doing a disservice by telling everyone everything is okay. Okay, well, I don't think I have said that. I think I've said the beach conditions are beautiful. And it's an opinion, and I am fully believing it. I'm standing on the beach right now. I sense no red tide. Anyway, Ted, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to keep some of my thoughts to myself just because I think you're probably coming from a good place, but I just can't comprehend how people can't see it for themselves. And you're not listening. Ted, that's a big part of the problem, man. You're not listening. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Dee. Good morning, Joshua. Good morning, Gemma from the UK. Jason says, a good tool for the time lapse is the DJI Osmo 2. It just so happens, Jason, that's exactly what we use for our lives. So for my time lapse, I use the tripod because I don't want to stand over there. But yeah, we actually, Sandy and I both use the DJI Osmo too. Tom says, haters with an agenda are blind, deaf, and dumb to the truth. Listen, you can't be more blind, deaf, and dumb to the truth than seeing it with your own eyes and still saying it's a lie. I agree with you, Tom. Yeah, it is a beautiful sky this morning, guys. I'm running through your comments before I move on to what we're talking about next. Jacqueline says, it sounds like you're congested and coughing. Is it from the air? No. First of all, I had last week an insanely bad cold. Like, I was at the point last week of figuring out if I was going to go into the doctor. I don't typically like to go to the doctor. Bit of a rainbow right there, just a sliver of a rainbow. So I was really uncomfortable, and I'm just now starting to get where I feel better. And the cough does get worse later in the day and like at night before I go to bed, but it's not related to this. Of course, some will say it's a lie. Okay, but I know that I'm getting over a cold. I've had a lot of colds. Typically have a lot of sinus issues. So, good morning, Brandon. I appreciate your blog, says David. Thank you so much, David. Hey, Ted. Dude, listen. Ted says, why don't you go down to the beach and show them the dead fish? Why don't you show them the green stain on the beaches? Well, Ted, because of one reason that you're not listening. There's no green stain on this beach. There's a green stain up at Delnor Wiggins, and there's dead fish all over the beach at Delnor Wiggins. And Ted, you clearly haven't followed this page, and you're trolling me. And normally I would not give the trolls the time of day, except for I'm trying to not. I want to win you over, Ted. I want to win you over. I'm probably not going to have any shot, but I want to win you over. Go back to our live last Friday. We actually went to Del Nor. We went to Vanderbilt, and we came to Naples in one live. We literally just hopped beaches, and we walked on Del Nor Wiggins. We said how ugly it was. We showed it again. We showed it. There is no stain, guys. There's no stain on the beach. Naples was spared pretty heavily. And Ted, I'm also posting the actual data, which is the fact, the data of the results being pulled out of the water. And I think another one's going to be released today or tomorrow. But go back and check it out, Ted, because there are actually a lot of areas of this town that are not registering any red tide. And then there's areas that are measuring very low. This area that I'm standing at right now measures very low, according to the last test. Thank you, Sal. Sal says, I'm not sure who's hating on this. Personal opinion is not hate. It's just this. I mean, I think people are coming on here new, and they're just like looking to somehow tear apart people who are saying that the beaches are not horrible. Listen, we are down here in Naples, downtown Naples. We stick here. This is pretty much our base. This is where we go. There's other people that do other pages in North Naples, and you can follow them, and they'll give you guys insight as to what's going on up there. We are not media outlets. We are two folks who have a really popular Facebook page, and we try to use it for some common good and to support our community without lying. And the way we do that is we just give our opinions on it as it is. If you were here in the wintertime, we talked a lot about red tide, and we were hacking. and we talked about how terrible it was. It was a month ago that we were out here at this very spot talking about how bad it was. But it's not right now, and we call it as we see it. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go look at that pufferfish that's over there dead on the beach and put my camera right down on it and for 5 minutes tell you how sad it is. It's sad, but I don't need to do that to get numbers. I don't need to do that to get more views. I don't need to do that to get more attention and to get people, you know, piped up and hot over things. James says the conditions vary from place to place, and I think that's what people don't realize is the conditions here are changing literally mile to mile, and this part of town for weeks now has been gorgeous. So again, it is what it is, guys. Ted says cyanobacteria is in that water, my friend. Ted, I've never once said that water is great. I have never once said I would go in that water, and both Sandy and I have said we wouldn't go in that water. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, before you hate on us, man, just follow us. Like, give us a week. Give us a week. See what we have to say over the course of a week, and then judge us, because we've said every single day we would not go in that water, and that's why you haven't seen us really in that water. Camille was in the Naples area at the end of July, and it was awful. We couldn't take the smell. The coughing was bad, and it made me sad. Yeah, you know, I mean, the thing is, I remember there were days where we were here, and then and it was beautiful, and then Sandy would go up to Loudermilk Park, which, as you guys know, is probably not more than maybe 1 or 2 miles north, and was coughing. And so there was a period of time where literally it was within view. You could say it was beautiful here, and then within view, you could say up like that way, it wasn't. But from what we've experienced, because sometimes in the evening, Sandy will go further north. From what we've experienced in the last 2 weeks is that there's not been any breathing issues. And when we talk, that's what we're referring to. We're referring to telling you guys what's on the beach, whether there's a lot of dead fish on the beach, and we're referring to the air conditions as we see it. You know, we're not pulling air samples. We don't have that ability, and we'll leave that up to other people. But we are not experiencing red tide conditions in the air. James says they say red tide can travel inland as far as a mile, and that's very true. Sandy and I actually had lunch one day. We were having a meeting, and we had lunch one day on 41, which isn't a mile inland, but you know, it is a bit further inland than many people would think that red tide can go, and we sensed it there. Oh, Sharon says, good morning from Minnesota. It's 55 degrees in Minnesota. I gotta be honest with you, Sharon. I am looking forward to a few mornings like that. I actually miss some of that weather. I'm looking forward to season coming and getting some cool mornings. I am so excited and anxiously awaiting. Good morning, Bean. Thank you for your support, Bean. How hot is it right now? It's actually not bad right now, but we noticed that probably in the next 30 minutes, it's gonna get really hot out here. Like for some reason, it's like between 9 and 9:30, it just, oh, check out all the birds. Between 9 and 9:30, it really gets warm. How is Loudermilk? My understanding is Loudermilk has been beautiful, at least for the last week. Rose is asking what the site for red tide is. You know, you might want to Google this, guys. If you want to see the latest red tide reports, you can do one of two things. You can actually go on our page. So go to the Naples Photo Blog page and search down, and somewhere down there, we posted it like late last week. And I'm thinking that the new report's going to come out today or tomorrow. So just keep an eye out if you want, and we'll post the latest reports as we have been doing. Thank you, Shirley, for the support. Thank you, Dee. You have a good day, too. And yes, I agree with you, Ted. Do not go in the water with any cuts. My understanding is you shouldn't go in the water with cuts anytime. There are bacteria. This water, guys, is so warm. This is unlike Northern Gulf or the Atlantic or other areas. Where we are geographically, the way the temperatures work down here, even in the winter, the water stays warm enough all year to not kill off the really dangerous bacteria in the wintertime. So if you're here, you should not go in the water with open sores. It is dangerous, actually. And that right there is probably the most important thing we've said. Good morning, Amber. I'm trying to scroll through these guys. I got something I want to talk to you guys about specifically, but I want to get through these comments. I want to address all of you guys regarding this specific situation. David says we have so much hate and stress in this country, man. You could not be more truthful on that. Yeah, Loudermilk was terrible a month ago. It really was. David says block Ted from the blog. No, I mean, the thing is this, is Ted has every right to give his opinion. We're not one of those people. And if you guys knew me off of this page on a political level, which we don't get into on this page, but I am one of those people that really values people's opinions, and I really appreciate debate and dialogue. I love it. I think it's what we're missing in this country. And I'm going to turn it on myself to say this. I really think that it's important that people like Ted and I can have that conversation in a mature, respectful way. I think that it's a lesson that more and more people need to learn, the ability to do that. Blocking people like Ted is not what I want to do, because I actually think Ted is probably just emotional about this, which I understand. I think Ted is just misunderstanding what we're doing. And I think that overall, we need to be able to have that dialogue. And as long as he's respectful to me, I'll be respectful to him. We'll disagree, but at least we can have the conversation, which is probably the most important thing. And I think it's something that everybody watching this and all of us should probably try to do more of. Let's see. Trying to move through. Kathy says, good morning, Rob. I am not Rob, Kathy. I am Brandon. Rob, whom you're referring to, is on another page, but I totally understand. I've actually, guys, ended up on his page thinking I was on my page and then very confused. So totally get it. Thank you, Janet. I have no idea how far behind I am, guys. I'm trying to burn through. Yeah, I'm not gonna block Ted, guys. As long as Ted's cool, respectful, we're good. I don't mind the disagreements. I actually value disagreements. We're totally cool with disagreements. All right, so I'm caught up. So, and by the way, if you guys think Ted's bad, you guys should see some of the stuff we received privately. Ted's probably, in my opinion, a cool guy compared to what some of the people have said. So anyway, yeah, Roy, up in North Naples with Southwest Florida TV, they interview him a lot. He's an older gentleman, and he got really sick with a flesh-eating bacteria. That's all right, Kathy. Kathy, like I said, I've seen him go live, and I've thought it was Sandy before, and I've jumped on, and it wasn't. So it's easy to do. I thought it was my own page. So one thing I did want to say is, guys, just as a little housekeeping point, make sure that you set your notifications for when we go live. And the way you're going to do that is, at least if you're on an iPhone, touch your screen, and where a menu comes up, and in the top right corner there's going to be a few dots. Select that, hit the dots on the top part of your screen, and click the notifications and turn your notifications on, and it'll let you know every time we go live. So one thing that we're doing is, if you guys have noticed, we were not live yesterday, and we showed a picture of some people that we're talking to, and so we are officially, gonna be doing some stuff with Pure Florida. And there's some great people. We met with them several times, and they could not be better people. It's a family business, and we're gonna basically do some things that help the page with you guys. We're gonna go out on their boats, and we're gonna do various different things, and we're gonna try and put some support to them, because they've been hurting, as a lot of businesses have. As you guys know, we pride ourselves on our community, our small businesses. You guys, just so you guys know, you guys really helped with Chatterbox 2's opening. Those guys had a fantastic grand opening. I know that a lot of you guys were actually there. I was there one day, and one of you guys came up and introduced yourself to me. So if you're out there watching, it's very nice to meet you. And yeah, so you guys are really helping. We believe in the small businesses. If you have a chance, really support your local small businesses down here. Really try to use local restaurants. Try to use local tourism things, the ones that are more family oriented. So we're going to be doing some stuff with Pure Florida starting next week. I don't know exactly what we're going to do when, but we're pretty much going to we're going to go out on the double sunshine. We're going to go out deep sea fishing. We're going to take you guys along as much as we can. We're going to do lives on those trips. We'll do a live on the deep sea fishing as far as we can go before we lose signal, and then we'll do video, and we'll post the video later. So what else are we going to do? We're going to do a dolphin eco tour with those guys so that you guys can see the dolphins. And there's gonna be so much cool content that we're gonna do. We really wanted to get you guys more content. You guys have known for months we've been talking about trying to find a way to get with local businesses to help each other. And we want to get out on the water. It'll help those guys. At some point, I would love to have, and I don't know how it's gonna work, and I don't know if it's something we could do. We just got to figure, but I'd love to do like a Naples Photo Blog, double sunshine ride, and all of us hang out. It's like a party boat. And so how do I go to our website? Guys, for our website, just go to Facebook right now and go to Naples Photo Blog on Facebook. We're actually working on a formal web page right now, so that'll be coming soon. Hopefully we can announce that in the next week or so. And then a really cool thing that we're gonna do, and we'll be doing some lives, is we're gonna go out on like their private charter fishing boat, man. This thing's incredible. It's called the Kudu. And if you guys go on the Pure Florida website, which is purefl.com, you can see that boat. And we're gonna go out with Harry, who is part of the ownership of Pure Florida. We're gonna go out and do some deep sea fishing there, or backwater fishing or something, but it's gonna be a fun fishing trip. We're gonna bring you guys along with that one as well. So we're gonna do as much as we can with these guys, and we're gonna try and do things that bring more unique content to our page so that you guys can see some cool stuff, so that you can see Naples. But somebody mentioning about going to Fort Myers. One of those things that we do with them is we're gonna go to they also have a location in Fort Myers. They have an operation out of Fort Myers, and we are gonna go to Fort Myers, and we're gonna do like their river cruise in Fort Myers. I just don't know exactly when we're gonna do that, but we will keep you guys updated on what we're doing and when, and stuff like that. Maybe we'll do it as an event so that you guys can click that you're interested, and that way you'll get a notification. So we'll keep all that going. I will let you know. I will let you know what we're doing. We plan to do something next week. Sandy and I have to sit down and iron out our schedules and see how that's gonna work. Some of it may even be on the weekends. So also, if you guys are interested in going on any of these things with us, you're totally welcome to. I mean, you know, give you guys, I'm sure I think they have a 20% discount, which we'll figure all that out today. I think they have some 20% discount program going on, but for right now. But if we go out, we'll let you guys know, and it's not going to be something where you're not allowed to join. It'd be fun to have some of you guys along, get to know some of you guys. So that's something we're looking forward to. And tonight, if anybody is interested in coming out tonight, this evening, around 5 p.m., I'm going to be at Chatterbox 2. I don't think Sandy's going to be there, but I will be there, hanging out for probably an hour or two. So if you're in the area and you want to stop by and say hi, please feel free to do that. We will be at Chatterbox 2, which is right across the street from the Naples Community Hospital and the Winds area. It's kind of that in between. And so come out, hang out, excuse me, and we'll be having a good time over there. Come say hi. We don't bite. Hey, thanks, Sal. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not always easy to fight the grain, go against the grain. But one thing I promise you guys, and it's something that that we told even Pure Florida and everybody that we've talked to, is that first of all, we're never going to say what we don't want to say, and we're never going, and they never asked us to. I mean, just so you guys know, those people are amazing people. We just, we want to stay true to who we are, and anybody that we work with, it's going to have to be something that seamlessly integrates with our page. And by that, I mean, it has to be something that's fun to watch, something that's fun to go live with, and something that we can make our audience feel like they're part of. And so this is like the perfect thing, because obviously most people who come to Naples want to be able to get out on the water, and water gets expensive to get out on. And, this relationship with those guys will give us the ability to get out on the water. And more importantly, which is really near and dear to us, is it will give us the ability to give back to our community through this page. And that's something we've always wanted to do. And we are very serious when we say we value our community and our small businesses, because anybody who's been to Naples knows that Naples is while it's a sophisticated town, so many businesses in Naples are small businesses. So many restaurants are mom and pop restaurants. And so it's really important. It's something we take very seriously. And Pure Florida is a family business. Like, it's small, and they run a really good business, but they're so important to this area in tourism. They are so important, because those guys, I haven't said this to them, but I say, because they would probably say, I don't say that, but I say, basically they run 10 City, and in my opinion, they do. When you see those boats down at 10 City, a lot of those boats are Pure Florida. The jet boat, the jet skis, the Lady Brett fishing boat, the Double Sunshine, the Kudu. Man, those guys are so important to the tourism market down here. It's so valuable. So I could not be happier to have a relationship with these guys. And one thing I really am so proud of is, even though I know we get some haters, I'm really proud of the fact that we get to play a role in this hard time, that this page, people are reaching out to us. I'm so proud that businesses are reaching out to us to help them, because it tells me that we are being looked at as contributors to this town, to this, this market. And to me, that's like the coolest thing ever. It's just so cool to me. So to be able to say we're helping, is so cool. And then I was going to bring up something else. Our daughter works for the Naples Princess. That's cool, Cindy. It's very cool. There was something else I was going to mention, and of course, because I don't pre-plan too much these lives, I didn't write anything down. So I figure if I remember it, I'll remember it. If I don't, I'll say it another time. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. So, guys, we're just we are just over 2.5 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks away from the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Irma, which slammed right here, all up in here. And so one thing we're going to do is on September 10th, which is the 1-year anniversary, we are going to dedicate our live to telling our story about what happened on Irma, because Sandy and I both have two different stories that kind of ended up meshing a little bit. And I think it's pretty interesting. And a lot of people, I think, in remembrance of what happened, and now that most people have moved on from it and we're coming up on a year anniversary to reflect, I think what's kind of cool is a lot of people wonder, what is that really like? Like, you hear about it on the news, but what's it really like? And as you guys know, I love to talk to you guys kind of like one-on-one like that. So on September 10th, we're going to stand out here and pretty much spend our entire time. What's up, Scott? Hey, man. We're going to pretty much spend our entire time on September 10th talking about everything that we experienced during Irma, because we did leave. Sandy did leave, but there's a story. There's such a story. And I'll tell you guys kind of what we were thinking along the process, because, I have a family, a wife and 2 kids, and Sandy, she's got a different situation. And so we were kind of in 2 different places at the same time, in 2 different mindsets at the same time. And so we're going to tell those stories. And so one thing I want to do is I wanted to encourage anybody on here who has a story from Irma to send us a message on our Facebook page. So go to Facebook, send us a message, and give us kind of a rundown of what your story was. And what we're going to try to do is find some way to share those stories. And whether it be on the Facebook page or whatever, if you do send it, please, be willing to let us use it on the page. But just tell us your story. Even if you weren't here, if you have property here, tell us what you were thinking. Tell us what your feelings were. And we're going to try and share those and really kind of give insight to people who don't live in the area, who have never gone through a hurricane, to give sort of a perspective. So in the future, when things like that happen, maybe you guys can understand more about what goes on. So if you have a story from Hurricane Irma, get those into us. Go on our Facebook page and give a little write-up. It's a gorgeous morning. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's had a good week so far. If you are wondering about the red tide, we talked about it at length for the first part of the live. Make sure you go back and watch it when it's all over. And because once this live ends, it saves as a video, and you can go to our page, our Naples Photo Blog page, and watch the video again. And very soon, Facebook is supposed to be implementing a feature, if they haven't done so already, which I don't think they have, where you're going to be able to rewind in the live. During the live, you're going to be able to rewind. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them. There are not many people out here this morning. Beachcomber Dave is over there. People on the beach. Yeah, Beachcomber Dave's on the beach. There's people walking on the beach. And the sailboat is still there. Sailboat has been there now pretty much all week. This guy has been anchored, chilling, living the life. So tomorrow, here's the choices, guys, and you guys tell us where you want us to do our live tomorrow. Here's your options. We can go back to the Naples Pier, walk the pier, or I'm actually thinking tomorrow what I would like to do, unless you guys would rather do the pier, what I would like to do is walk a little bit on Fifth Avenue. Not all of Fifth Avenue, because I am not walking that much. But if you guys want to see some of Fifth Avenue in the morning, it's not very busy, so it's a little bit easier to walk around without putting a lot of people on camera. So if you're interested, check us out tomorrow, maybe on Fifth Avenue South. Maybe at the heart of Fifth Avenue South. Where is Sandy, Scott says. I have no idea, Scott. As I was saying earlier, the way we work is all off the cuff. We do not pre-plan too much. We don't schedule too much or arrange too much. When she shows up, it's not one of those things where it was like, hey, you know, show up today and it'll be cool how you show up, you know, unexpectedly. No, we really don't do that. When she shows up, she shows up. Most of you guys know that she's coming the same time I do, because she'll come on the live and say I'm on my way. But I have not heard from her this morning. I'll have to check in with her, actually, make sure she's all right. Yeah, all right, guys, so maybe we'll do Fifth Avenue South tomorrow morning. And another cool live is next week. I think next week is we have worked with a realtor here in town. He's a friend of mine, and he's gonna take us guys in a really nice mansion that has just been redone here down near the pier, about a block in. It's probably gonna be a $7 million mansion, $7 million sell. It's for sale right now. Nobody's in it, and we're gonna go in it, and we're gonna show you guys around, and we're gonna let him kind of show you guys what it's like. And now, you know, I haven't even seen it. So we're gonna get to go in one of these really big mansions. Evidently it has an elevator in it. And we're gonna show you guys what it's like to live in something like that. I'm looking forward to it. So that's coming next week as well. How's it going, Dave?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good, man. Getting beat up a little bit. The people they don't believe me when I say the beach is nice. People are saying it's not, just that I'm not being truthful.
Well, you're showing them.
I'm showing them. I can't do much more, can I?
I saw a manatee when I was swimming.
Oh, you did? You saw a manatee? Oh, I missed it.
Real close.
I missed it.
A lot of birds flew over. Did you see that?
I did. I saw the birds fly over, yeah.
I actually heard their wings.
Did you?
It says there must be a lot of birds up there. It was the pelican.
Yeah. Yeah, they flew right over.
I counted about 27 of
A
them.
lot of them. I don't know if I've ever seen that many at one time.
No, I was listening to that sound. What's that sound?
Yeah.
With all the wings at the same time.
It's crazy.
No, but the water's clean. It's clear.
Yeah, it looks clear.
This is the stretch of beach that is okay right now.
Yep. Yep.
It's good. You have a good day.
You too, man. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carol, I'm not sure what day we're gonna do that yet. We're gonna have to work that out with him. So we'll see. But I will let you guys know as soon as I get scheduled on any of our lives that are kind of like unique lives, I will post something about it. And I might even post like events, guys. And while it's not an event you can attend per se, I'll post the events, and just so you know, when you click interested or you click going, what it does is it allows Facebook to send you a notification to remind you of what we're doing. So it may remind you if there's a live in particular that you don't want to miss. Any squirrels out today? You know, Sandy's not here, so I'm not too distracted with other things, like, because once we get talking, I get distracted, like we get into different topics, but my partner in crime is not with me today. But, you know, I know people think, hey, listen, one thing I know we've done a good job with is making people think we have no lives. And I cannot stress enough, guys, how much work we put into this, because we both have incredibly busy schedules. And the difference is, and I think that what makes me feel good is we've conveyed this by people thinking that we we have no lives, what it tells me is that our passion and our enjoyment for this has really come through, because we love doing what we do. And like, it's really near and dear to our hearts. And so it's one of those things where it is a job, it's work. And okay, I got you guys back. I normally do not lose the beach, but I just did. So what I was saying was, we have a set of goals. We are really trying to do a lot with the page. We have just scratched the surface for what we're doing with Naples Photo Blog. So if you're new here, hang out with us. We're gonna do some cool things. But it is work. We put so much time into this, and that's sort of what we do. How you guys doing?
Hey, there you go.
Good. Andrea asks, she's coming down tomorrow. She asks if it's safe to swim. We cannot tell you whether or not it's safe to swim. We can't tell you. What we can tell you is what we observe and what we would do. And what we have observed is people swim in the water all day long. I personally would not swim in the water, and Sandy has said she would not swim in the water. And these clouds out here are beautiful today. I'm hoping this time lapse turns out really nice. I think it will. We're basically looking, kind of looking out this way. And it's really wide. It's a really wide view. And hopefully get some really good movement. I think we are. I think we're gonna get a lot of bubbling up with all these clouds. Scott, I thought of you, man. I thought of you yesterday, Scott. I saw the video of the maggots on the beach. That was incredible. While incredibly gross, it was incredibly cool too. Yeah, I did see that. I thought of you when I saw it. And to clarify, it's in Inglewood, which Sandy was at Inglewood a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty nasty. Sandy, are you watching? Normally, even if she doesn't come to the live, she watches the live. So Sandy must be busy today. So I'm gonna go down to my seat for a minute, guys. Somebody was hanging out at my bench for a bit, and now they're gone. So I'm gonna go take a seat at my bench for a few minutes, chat with you guys before we head off for the day. While I'm just chilling, I'd love for you guys to like our YouTube channel. Well, the word they use is subscribe, subscribe being the same thing as like on Facebook. Follow is another word for it. So go to youtube.com, search Naples Photo Blog, and click subscribe. We really want to grow that up, and just another area. Alice is asking, what is the real reason for the condition? Well, the real reason will always be debated because it's a very political based issue as well. but my honest feeling, while red tide can be natural and often is natural, I think most everybody across the political spectrum believes, and as I do, that it's related to the Lake Okeechobee releases. And I know that there's a lot of, Monday morning quarterbacking about what can be done. And I don't know the answer, because I typically believe that the answer is the solution is a lot harder than we believe. I posted a video a week ago, it was, I think, from the Army Corps of Engineers. And sorry guys, I feel like I should look at you when I'm talking to you. The video from the Army Corps of Engineers said that they are working on a replacement for the dike that holds the water in, and it would allow the water to rise. And that's really what the issue is here. The issue is, if you've ever been out to Lake Okeechobee, on the south side of the lake, which is really what's holding the water back, the south side of the dike is basically like a mountain. So if you're driving there's a road that runs right on the south side of the lake. If you were to drive by Lake Okeechobee, you're actually looking up at the lake. The lake is way above your head. And the concern is that dike is aged, and that it might not have the structural strength, integrity to hold back super high levels of water. And anybody who knows sort of the layout of Florida, there's some towns and cities south of that. And there's a lot of infrastructure south of that, including Alligator Alley. And the idea is, if the water's allowed to rise too much on that dike, it could compromise the dike, and it could cost thousands and thousands and thousands of people their lives. So their only option at this point is to release the water into the Gulf through the lake, through the rivers, the Caloosahatchee River on this side, and then there's another one on the other side. I don't know the name of it. And that's kind of where we're at. And what's happened is, in the past, in years past, they always talked about how low the lake was. The lake was really low, drought condition low. And now the problem is, we've had a lot of rain over the last year, including Hurricane Irma, and a record high for rain in the month of May. And so the releases haven't been normal releases. They've been like really big releases. And I got really bad news for you guys, something that most of you don't know. And I wasn't gonna say, because I just don't feel like arguing with people over it, but it's a fact. This weekend, so basically after this devastation happened, they stopped the releases for a while. And we've had a lot of rain. And unfortunately, as you might know, that means the lake levels are getting really high. St. Johns River, thank you, Scott. Scott is like our in-house encyclopedia for this area. Scott grew up here, so thank you, Scott. I appreciate all your help, Scott, by the way. I'd never claimed to know all this stuff. I'm an idiot with half this stuff. So I was told that this weekend, and most people don't know this, I was told this weekend that they are planning to re-release water back into the Gulf from Lake Okeechobee. So that's going to be news to most people following this, and because that kind of came from an inside source. It's not good, and I think it's going to get dicey up in North Naples, and it's really going to get dicey near the mouth of the Caloosahatchee, and everything else is pretty much going to depend on what way the wind is blowing. So I just hope that they don't do it, but if they do, I know they do it because they have to, and I'm just ready for this whole thing to go away, as I'm sure everybody is. But this weekend, I don't know it as a fact, but my understanding is they're going to be re-releasing water from Lake Okeechobee again, because the rains have been really heavy the last week, and the lake has to be relieved. The dike has to be relieved, and so that's what's going to happen. So prayers, fingers crossed, whatever you do, that everything goes fairly well. And again, if you guys do not have your notifications set for our lives, please set your notifications. And you do that simply by tapping your screen. At least if you're on an iPhone, tap your screen. 3 dots will appear in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Click those dots with your finger and then set your notifications to on. And whenever we go live, it'll send you a little notification that we are live. And if you are watching our page, our videos, and you enjoy them, please click like, please click share, and please follow our page. We would greatly appreciate it. We value all opinions. As long as everybody's respectful, we value it. Even dissenting opinions, even very, 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 very emotional disagreements with us, we value it. And as long as we treat each other with respect, we'll have great dialogue. And I think tomorrow, guys, we're gonna go do a live, kind of just walking around, milling around, you could say. Perusing, what are other words? I'm actually curious. I love finding new words to use. My mom is like, man, you're using some new words. I like new words, I think it's fun. So milling, perusing, whatever, give me some words. On 5th Avenue South. So we'll be roaming about. Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. I never lose signal at this beach access. And do you guys remember, we used to go a little further north over the last winter. We would go a little further north, like 6th Avenue South and even, or 6th Avenue North, I'm sorry, and then even further. And, but our signal was so terrible up there that we pretty much stayed down here near the pier now. And Sandy and I both have different companies. I have AT&T, she has Verizon. So anytime we get into a spot when we're together where there's a bad signal, we always see which one of us has the best one. And when we go a little further north of here, we both have pretty bad signal. So if you are coming to the beach and you really want to have a good cell phone signal and you have Verizon or AT&T, just remember, the closer you are to the Naples Pier, for whatever reason, the closer you are to the Naples Pier, the signal is better. Good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning, Ann. Conditions on Marco. I'm sorry, Linda. I'm sorry. I did not mean to ignore that. I only know from the FWC samples, and the last ones they posted were a week ago, which are probably not current. There was very little red tide on Marco, but there was a spot on the northwest side of the island that had high levels. So, and I think that's just because the way the wind was blowing, it was like kind of in a cubby area, kind of like in a little cove area, and the wind couldn't get to it to push it out like it had up the coastline. So the latest report should be coming out today or tomorrow, and we will post that as soon as we see it. We're going to be checking it all day to get the latest report, and as soon as that report comes out, we're going to throw it out on the page to you guys. I'm actually really interested to see the latest report because last week, this part of town, downtown Naples, the samples came back very low to non-existent. And Naples had improved as an average, which includes North Naples, had improved by an average of 25% less red tides in the samples compared to last week, the week before. And in Lee County, it had improved on an average of more than 25%, which is the most they'll even record on the report. Good morning, Barb. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Jamie. Thank you for watching. Good morning, Francis. And I was just saying earlier tonight, guys, around 5 p.m., 5 to 5:30, I'll be hanging out at Chatterbox for a couple of hours. Chatterbox 2, downtown Naples. If you guys want to come out, support Chatterbox 2, hang out. Place is really cool. I don't know about their live music tonight. I don't know. They might have some, they might not. I'm not sure. They have been having live music, so they probably will have some tonight. And they do have happy hour until 7 p.m. So come out, hang out, and if you're there, say hi. I'm going to be out there with a couple friends, And but please feel free to come up and just say hi. You're not going to bother us. You're not going to interrupt us. I like meeting those who follow this page. So if you're out, come over to Chatterbox, say hi, and hang out. Good morning, Robert from Moultrie, Georgia. Moultrie, Georgia. Okay, I'm thinking of something else. I was thinking of Fort Moultrie in South Carolina. I'm not familiar with Moultrie, Georgia, or where that is. Good morning, Francis. Anthony, how's the red tide that way? We call just from our observations. I have no idea what's in the water. From our observations, the beaches are beautiful. The water looks pretty clear. There's beautiful color in the water now. The sun's coming up, so you can start to see, I don't know how much it shows up on the camera, but you can start to see some beautiful green showing. Happy Thursday to you too, Kathy. And a lot of birds and pelicans are back, and Beachcomber Dave was out here earlier, and he was telling us that there were manatees out here earlier, which I'd missed. I just didn't even see them. Partly I didn't see them because the water's it's not as glassy today, and it's hard to see them when there's ripples like that in the water. Hello, Beth from Indiana. There are a couple dead fish on the beach that I saw. I literally saw a couple, too. And one of them was really decomposed, so I think it had been a while. And the other one looked fairly new. And the way I see it is, if fish are dying from something in the water, I don't really want to be in the water. But as far as the beach goes, the beach is beautiful. The air is very clean, at least from the senses. Good morning, Linda from Long Island. Good morning. Sherry will be here Labor Day weekend, or Labor Day week. Very cool, coming up. And Scott, I did see that you say go to Kilwins tomorrow. I saw that. I didn't want to ignore that. Just thought about it. And the pelicans are hunting. And just so you guys know, if you want to know about the beach conditions, these pelicans, when the red tide was at its worst, we never saw them. They disappeared. I don't know where they went, but they vanished. And they are back, like in full force. And they're eating. They're very active. The fish are very active as well. A lot of bait fish. And one thing that I believe, because I have some pretty good experience fishing off the shoreline, which I love. I believe you can tell a lot about the water conditions from the animals, from the birds, from the bait fish especially. Because it seems like the really small fish are the first ones to die when there's these outbreaks. And man, the little fish are back, the big birds are back, the manatees are back, the dolphins are back. None of those were around during the worst part of all this. Yeah, it'd be hard to come down here and not get in the water for a lot of people. Not for me. I love the beach, but I'm not big on getting in the water. I've seen too much, guys. I've seen too much. I've lived here for a while. I've seen too much. And these clouds are awesome today. And we're doing a time lapse. So we're getting all of this in a time lapse. And when you go back and look at these things, these are the ones that are always impressive on a time lapse. These kind of clouds like right here, because on a time lapse, they bubble up. And that cloud right there, I can guarantee you by the way it looks, you just can't tell in real time. But when you see it on the time lapse, this thing is just gonna bubble, and it's gonna bubble right up through that cloud layer and all of that. Yeah, I know, snook season opens September 1st, and I've got my tag. I've got my snook tag, which I probably shouldn't have renewed. I'm gonna fish for them because I think they're fun to catch, but I'm with you, Scott, man. I don't know if I'm gonna eat anything for a while. I don't know. I just can't. I don't know, something to it. I'm sure the fish are healthy. I mean, if they weren't healthy, I can't imagine they would be aggressively feeding, but I don't think I'm gonna risk it. It's not worth it. Sherry says, you've seen too much. You can't just stop there. What does that mean? Well, I mean, to each his own, right? To each his own. I have taken a terrible jellyfish sting down. I'll show you guys. I don't know if I can see it. So just a word to the wise. So those pilings down there, if you look down there, those pilings, right where the boat is, there's pilings that run out. It's actually a very popular photo spot here in Naples. Just so you know, those pilings and the pier pilings are very popular, especially for the pilings back that way. Very, very, very popular hangout spots for jellyfish. And I took a terrible sting. I mean, I've been stung by jellyfish many, many times throughout my life, but man, I don't know what's hanging out over there, but it left a scar that I have to this day. It's been like 5 years, and it's a permanent mark on the back of my calf. And then I have been standing on the Naples Pier, trying to find a shady spot so my phone doesn't overheat. I've been standing on the Naples Pier between the beach and the midpoint, so not even out far. And I've seen sharks swimming in between people, and they never even knew it. And but it does go to show how sharks are not what people say they are. But I'm just one of those people that's like a wimp with it. And then I've actually seen shark fishing, which is illegal, by the way. I've seen shark fishing on the end of the pier late at night, and it is, so that can bring up another topic, but I've seen them catch sharks on the end of that pier that were so big they could not bring them up. And I mean, we're talking big sharks. And it is illegal, and I think they've had a hard time stopping it because people come out really late at night and do it. And it's kind of hard to stop when you can be, if you're an officer, you can be seen coming from, a long ways away when they're all at the end. And because of that, now they're talking about closing the pier during overnight hours, which I don't support. I'm just one of those people, guys, I hate the idea of banning things because some people don't do things right. So that's sort of, there's a lot of stingrays, and there's a lot of people that get tagged by stingrays out here. It's the Naples Community Hospital. I know some people over at the hospital in the ER, and it's just not overly publicized, but it is very common to see people coming in with hit by a stingray. And so that's why if you are out here, you have to be smart. And it's the way you walk in the water. And a lot of you have heard of it. Maybe some of you haven't. If you haven't, here's your public service announcement for the day. You have to do what the locals call the stingray shuffle. If you walk in the water, do not walk like you walk on land. Don't pick your feet up and walk. You simply move your feet without picking them up. You shuffle. And that gives the stingray the opportunity to move versus you stepping on top of it. And if you step on top of a stingray, you're gonna get it. So look who is watching. Sandy Spindler has joined our live. Let's see. Well, Sandy, I know you haven't commented yet, but I'm glad to see you're alive. I was a little worried about you because normally, even if you don't join us, you normally are at least on. So I was a little concerned about you. Yeah, Scott, that's what I was saying. I was like, and just so you know, Scott, they do have somebody who's there, quote unquote, 24 hours a day. But what it is it's a patrol of the downtown area. And one of the stops on the patrol is the Naples Pier. So basically, the Naples Pier gets visited by an officer once per hour, is my understanding. But again, you know, when he walks out on that pier, they can see him coming from a mile away and just change what they do. So I think at this point, either it's going to have to be done through security camera or they're going to end up shutting the pier down at night. And the only thing I hate about that is, while I don't do it anymore, just because my life is so busy, I used to come out here on the pier, you know, 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning and fish, and there's really nothing like it. Sandy isn't commenting. So Sandy, I hope all is well. So tomorrow, guys, we're gonna be, and Sandy, I haven't even talked to Sandy about this yet, but tomorrow, because it's what you guys said you wanted, we're gonna do a live. There are 2 planes back to back. Check that out. I have never seen that. There's a plane right there, somewhere there, and then another one right behind it. And that's a pretty big, older plane. It's like a DC-9 or DC-10. Huh, that's interesting. Those planes took off. I have never seen planes take off that close together. We're gonna go to the 5th Avenue South tomorrow. It does get hot out here, Sherry. It does get hot out here. This is the time of day where I'm normally out, so hanging out here for a few more minutes. I'm doing a time lapse and I noticed that cloud is bubbling up. I'm trying to just see if I can get it a little longer. I'm gonna post that for you guys later. I'm doing that for the page, so we'll see if we can get a good time lapse out of that. And then there's supposed to be active storms today, so I might do another sky time lapse today of the storms moving in. So make sure you guys follow our YouTube page because we will house a lot of our content over there, including copies of these Facebook Lives. So if you ever want to go back and watch lives, you can't always do it on our page by scrolling, but sometimes that takes a long time. Go to our YouTube page, and we're now posting all of our lives. Really easy to find. You can kind of just go back and watch day by day if you really wanted to. And you go to youtube.com, type in Naples Photo Blog, and if you click that subscribe button on the page, YouTube will notify you whenever there's a new video. Ah, thank you, Mary. Again, what we'll say about the water, our position on the water, is that we can't tell you whether or not you can go. The beach is open to swimming. It is not closed, but there is a red tide warning sign, which I guess I could show you guys. There is a red tide warning sign, but that is because samples are still registering in the water. However, Naples, downtown Naples here, has in large part registered no red tide in the last report, which a new report should be coming out today. So honestly, they're not going to remove these signs until the reports show no red tide. Well, it's been days since they've released a report, so I'm expecting a current report today or tomorrow. And hopefully these signs will come down soon. Unfortunately, I think they're going to be releasing more water from Lake Okeechobee this weekend, so hopefully that will not affect us too badly. Sandy, if you're watching this, give a shout. I saw you jump on. Hadn't heard from you today. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for Thursday. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I really appreciate it. I know there's been some haters on this. Today there was one in particular, but I want to just say, instead of calling him a hater, which I shouldn't do, he was respectful, and so good debate, good dialogue, good back and forth is always good. Thank you guys for watching. Yes, it is 8th Avenue South. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all of the comments and the interaction, and for liking this and sharing this. Guys, the sharing drives this. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to Pure Florida, because if you didn't tune in earlier, we now have officially a relationship with Pure Florida, and we're going to be doing some really cool stuff together that's going to allow us to do some really cool lives. And Lance and Harry and all those guys over at Pure Florida, man, the best people, guys, the best people. We're going to be doing a lot with them, and starting next week. Thank you. You like the hat? Thank you. I love my Marlins, who beat the Yankees last night. You know, just I thank you guys for being a part of this. We're going to bring you guys some cool new content, and I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope you have a great weekend. And tomorrow morning, I plan, unless anything changes, I plan to see you guys at 5th Avenue South for our live. And tonight, if you're out and about and you're in town and you want to say hi, at 5:30, I'm going to be at Chatterbox 2 with some friends, hanging out for a couple hours. Stop by, say hi, shake my hand, get to know you guys, so I can put more faces with names. And I've gotten to do it quite a bit with you guys, and I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys soon.